You are listening to the Healthy Christian Women Podcast, brought to you by Fit+Faith, the podcast for Christian women to grow healthier in their mind, body, and spirit. Jumpstart your health with your complimentary mind, body, and spirit detox checklist at healthychristianwomen.com/detox. That's healthychristianwomen.com/detox. Here's your host, Dr. Melody Stevens.
Hello and welcome to the Healthy Christian Women Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Melody Stevens. Welcome to season 4. I have a very, very special guest and interview for you this morning. Man, we've been talking about some incredible things here in season 4 as we're going through natural and non-toxic living. We're talking about ways to be healthy and whole. And a few episodes ago, I had a very exciting interview and I was able to interview Dr. Axe. And that was an amazing time with his launch of his new book and all the great things. But I must say, the interview this morning, for me personally, tops that interview. And I thought that it couldn't get any better. I have a very, very excited, just an incredible guest for you this morning. And I am so excited to welcome her here. So let me be the first to introduce you to the incredible Jaime Cross. She is a woman of God. He has led an incredible thing in her business that she's going to share about. And God has been the leader of this entire thing of teaching her literally how to craft and create amazing products and amazing things that are filled with the power of nature. And in season 4, you've been hearing me share about some incredible products that I have fallen in love with that have given me personal transformation in my skin, in my body, in my health. We talk about health from the inside out. And now I get to finally put a face to the name of all the things that I've been sharing thus far in season 4 and all of these incredible products that you've been learning about and that you've been asking me about as my incredible listeners here. Jaime Cross is the founder and the formulator of them. So you finally get to meet her. She is an incredible mom of 5 beautiful boys, been married to her husband for almost 19 years. They just transitioned over to Tennessee from Colorado, and she is the founder and the CEO of Mighty in Good, also known as MIG, and of an incredible passion movement called the Her Effect. And so I cannot wait for her to begin to share more of her story. So Jaime, welcome to the Healthy Christian Women Podcast. We are so happy you are here.
Thank you, Dr. Melody. It's so great to be here.
Absolutely. So in this episode, I would love for you to be sharing first. Let's start at the beginning. How did you come to have this passion for natural living? Because it fits with everything that we're talking about. And you have an incredible story that's very different from my story of growing up in the city. You did not. And I have a feeling that has a part to play in your learning about nature at a young age. And so how did you ultimately come to learn how to formulate these incredible products and learn how to bring together the power of what God has already created in nature in a way that just continues to enhance our health and our body? So let's start there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too many people, and I think probably a lot of people here have even said, natural products don't work. But when I first started my journey, I had a lot of people telling me that, natural products don't work. And I had been given at the age of, at a very young age, it was like 24, 25 years old, a doctor told me, you may never be able to have children. You'll probably, if you do get pregnant, you'll miscarry a lot. You have this thyroid condition. And at the time, before I even met my husband, I was I was almost 200 pounds. Nobody knows that. I mean, I was overweight. I met him, lost a bunch of weight, but and then had really crashed my adrenal system in my late night, teens, early 20s, doing a leadership school that I went to. And so I started to look at my health seriously and think about, man, and she talked about heart conditions. She gave me all these, it was the doomsday diagnosis of doomsday diagnoses. And we didn't have our first son yet. Took us 5 years to get pregnant. And so that was before I had the idea for MIG. And then when I finally started our company, I just remember being like, I could never put garbage into my skincare. I mean, I had studied so much the human body, understanding that the skin is like a gateway to our immune system, to our organ health, to our blood health. I mean, life is in the blood. Everything inside of our body obviously can be impacted by what we put on our skin. And so I was creating products from a place of how can I support the body's own process to get off medication? And I never want to make medical claims, so just always have to give that disclaimer. But I felt like the more I studied, the more I understood your body is designed to heal itself. We just have to get out of its way and give it what it needs. And so many women, the average woman is ingesting over 500 chemicals into her body every single day. And tell me that isn't an impeding on the body's process. And when they do these, if they go and do these biopsies, a lot of times they'll find ingredients from our deodorants and our makeup and our shampoos and conditioners and all these products that we're using every day, loading our bodies with toxins. They find those in these biopsies, these ingredients. And so I wanted to do something different. I wanted it to be like, if you can't eat these ingredients, then we shouldn't be putting them on our skin. And then, of course, when I started to actually go to market with my products, I started to learn from Olympic athletes. We had the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and they would drive up and come to my table, and I would be talking to moms and college people and other doctors and dentists, and I would be hearing the pain points and the needs. And I would always be going back to the drawing board, especially in those first couple of years, saying, okay, what's the real pain? And how can we take what's already in nature and solve problems with our products? Something interesting too, I was just thinking about this as we're launching new products. You take an ingredient, let's say like retinol, that all the ladies are like, can you do a product with retinol? And so I'm like, well, let's look at what retinol really is. A lot of these chemical ingredients are really, scientists trying to take what we already have found in nature and, creating lab synthetic versions of them. So retinol, I mean, like you find the same benefits and more in raspberry oil, which is in our facial lotion bar in the new product that we're about to put out. So God put everything out there for us. We just have to tap into it and then start I even hesitate to use the word detox, but start a ditch and enrich process where we're ditching the chemicals and enriching with what God has created.
I love it. Absolutely. So coming from this place of your own health, of struggling in the beginning with your own health, you've been able to, you just, from what I understand, went on just like an intense research phase, right? Like you spent an entire year learning and researching how to create products, but learning more about the ingredients themselves, right? And I would assume that is where some of this has come from.
Yeah, herbal alchemy and chemistry and Ayurvedic medicine and naturopathic health. And I mean, all the Chinese medicine, I just went down every rabbit hole looking for who has delivered the greatest results, and even biblical history, like looking at what they would use hyssop. One of the things part of the dream that I had when I tell the story about how I had the MIG dream, I was pouring these oils and these purple flowers were flowing out. And after I had that dream, one of the first thing I did was I said, what purple flowers are in the Bible? And one of them was hyssop. And hyssop is sort of this all like encompassing, does all these amazing things for your body. And so, yeah, there's so much incredible resource out there, but studying the human body and studying nature.
Yeah. And that is what is incredible. It's like we have in the past, I don't know, 100 years, 200 years, I don't know what it is, that we have really thwarted. We have put nature on the back burner in the name of science and research and pharmaceuticals that are truly, like what you said, trying to recreate what nature has already done. So why? so they can make money.
Yeah.
Like, what? The whole thing has become so manipulated, unfortunately, and it's so financially driven, when God's like, I've given you all the things here, and people have used this for hundreds and thousands of years. Let's get back to that, and it's part of,
Absolutely.
yeah, and it's part of the journey that God led me through over the past 5-6 years, is get back to me being, the author and perfecter of not only your faith, but your life. And let's get back to, what did I create for you? I created the vegetables. I created the plants and the fruit. I created all of this to sustain your body. So why don't we start getting rid of, like you said, ditch and enrich? Why don't we start getting rid of the fast food, the processed food, all these other things that are loaded with chemicals that are not good for you? And let's just get back to nature. Like, it seems so like, isn't that just obvious? But in our culture this day and age, it's not anymore. So let's just.
Well, I can tell you exactly what happened. I mean, there's history there. If you look at, I believe it was the early 1940s when Rockefeller said, you know what, let's choke out Native American medicine and all these herbal medicines that was mainstream at the time. And, he set up the AMA, which is the American Medical Association. And this kind of conversation is pretty taboo. If you are, an AMA doctor, if you're a medical doctor, I mean, people lose their licenses for talking about this kind of stuff, but he shut it down and, of course, propped up big pharma. And then we've grown up for the last almost 100 years now, thinking that prescribed medication is the answer. That's just how people think. And in Western medicine, I'm grateful for it. There's a place for it. But when an herbal practitioner, or, I work with clinical herbalists, can't use the word anti-inflammatory because the government owns that word, that's really the truth of what's happening. And I'm like so pro medical freedom too, where I'm like, how are we going to get back to that? Exactly what you're saying.
I know, it's incredible. And this is one of the reasons why I have been searching for, in this journey of, let's get back to regular health, the building blocks of health, healthy, natural food that comes from the earth, and then moving and exercising our body. The two things that in the American culture, we don't do very much anymore, right? We sit at a desk job, right, and we eat processed fast food. So we've lost the two basics that are so simple that make our body feel amazing and work amazing. And so it's like getting back to that. So when I came across your product, so a little bit about, because I don't know if you know this or not, when I first came to know about you and met you online, ultimately is how it began for me. This was probably 3, maybe 4 years ago now. And I ended up seeing you through some other Christian entrepreneur groups online that I had been connected with. And so I was like, yeah, who is this girl? And I kept seeing, your name pop up and your face pop up. And this is when you were beginning to bring your business MIG online. And so I remember watching that process and hearing the stories, and it's like, look at what is happening and the business is blowing up. And like, this is just incredible. And I remember being so inspired by you. I was like, who is this woman? I love her heart. I love her passion. And I love what God has done, because I saw in my view what God was doing the whole time. And I was like, this is so inspiring to me. I want to have a business that I can say, hey, God, do amazing things with what you've given me. And I want to turn around and give you all the glory for it. Like, do that with me. And so I just remember being so inspired and watching the business explode. So I knew about you. I knew your heart. I knew the incredible products and your commitment to integrity of the products. And that's what I had been looking for. I was like, there's got to be a solution that I can bring to my audience that is pursuing natural living. They're pursuing holistic living. They're wanting to get healthy. They're realizing the way that the American culture and diet has ruined their health, and they want to make change. How else can I support that, right? I want to be a problem solver for them. And you came from this place of, I want to be a problem solver too, for myself and for other people, right? And so that's how I knew that your company, your products, your business is what I knew immediately I was meant to partner together, because I knew that this was the solution that I was also looking for to bring to my audience. So for me, this is extra exciting to have this conversation, even because of the history of what I have seen over the past few years, kind of following your journey. So I feel like I'm ultimate fangirl over here, just like, I can't believe I'm having this conversation with you.
And it's so funny too, because I remember seeing you pop up, commenting on posts or ads or, threads, and I feel like I know you too.
Super exciting. And so then now what is really fun for me is not only have we been able to meet in person a few times now over the past year with different things going on with MIG, but now again, next month in November will be another time. So I am thankful for this journey. I am thankful for what you have done with this business and for your heart and passion to help people combine nature with sustaining and ultimately enhancing the way that our body is already created. So it's incredible to me.
Man, that's right. Yeah.
So would you share with us a little bit about what do you see? What are the visions, the big picture visions that God has given you for this business? Like it's already morphed and grown in the past 11 years now. Just had, okay, here's one other really cool thing. The 11-year anniversary of MIG, which is the anniversary of the dream God gave you that you alluded to earlier, was on October 5th, 11 years ago. October 5th
Yes.
is my birthday. And so
oh my goodness.
I feel like for me, it's even more exciting. So when we get to just celebrate MIG's birthday a few weeks ago, I'm like, double celebration for me too. So it's another one of those little connections that's like, God has me here 100%. There's no doubt whatsoever. So what are the big picture visions of where you ultimately see this? Like what does God put in your heart?
Yeah. I think what you're saying is so true, that people are realizing that our current society, our current diet, our current way of doing things is not working. And people are frustrated and they're tired and they're done. And it's like, okay, I give up. Maybe I need to go and try, because I think there's a lot of, in doing farmers markets for years in Denver, it was like, oh, that's that hippie stuff. And it's, some societies are very like, they look down on, nature, the naturopathic way. But I think more and more people, and, if you look at just natural routes, organic skincare, organic supplements, all these like natural ways to support your body, that's mainstream. It's becoming more mainstream now. And I'm like, thank goodness we started 11 years ago, and we've been able to we're kind of catching a wave right now as people are jumping into this natural path wave. And, I didn't start this to be second place or to be this like small, mediocre brand. I knew from the beginning, when I asked God to show me $1 billion idea, it wasn't so that I could like have 8 Learjets and a bunch of fancy cars. It's because we have so much vision for impact, and, building wealth is such a powerful tool for impact. We've given, hundreds of thousands of dollars away for human trafficking and children in need. We are helping mothers see their unborn babies, so that they understand before they decide to have an abortion. They are, hey, we're supporting these buses that are just giving free ultrasounds and loving on these women, So I'm like, man, how can we not just continue to grow our brand to be the number one in herbal beauty in the world? And so I know we can do that, especially with the model. and I shifted over from being e-commerce into social selling, because I know what it's like to struggle financially, and to be at the grocery store and to have to put half your grocery, your basket back, because you realize you went over budget, or your debit card is declining at the at the checkout, and I wanted to give women an opportunity and a tool to be able to fix the money problem by purchasing things they're already buying anyway. Everybody needs soap. Everybody needs, all the different products that we carry right now. Our goal is to dominate in home health and self. So cleaning products eventually, and toothpaste, and just things that people use every day. But that's another thing too, is in this industry, there's a lot of greenwashing. There's a lot of big companies that understand the power of clean and pure and natural, but they're not willing to actually put their money where their mouth is. It costs a lot of money to create truly pure products. When people are like, oh, $28 for a bar of soap, I'm like, well, it takes us 2 months to cure it, and we don't skimp on ingredients. And this is something people have no problem paying $7 a day for a toxic coffee. And some of people I know, they go and they'll spend $200-300 a month on coffee. And I'm like, you can't spend $28 on a bar of soap that you're applying to your skin, which is a living, breathing organ. Your skin is not wallpaper. Come on, people, like, let's start to shift our focus over into what really is important. And so, becoming the biggest and the best is one of our goals, and not for the sake of just becoming the biggest and the best. It's because I know what kind of power we have here in the ability to help set women free financially, and take their power back in their finances, and then take their power back in their health. We have helped hundreds of thousands of people at this point transform their life. I mean, when you go from basic things like, let's get real here. We've got a detox product that is super gentle, but it's an herbal blend that makes you poop. People are not pooping in America. And when you start pooping, it's like, oh my gosh, you've changed my life, or my skin feels soft, or my breakouts are going away, or I feel energy again, or I have mental clarity again. The brain fog's gone. I've got rid of the bloat's gone away. I've lost weight because I've started doing green smoothies and intermittent fasting and taking your detox or taking the Arise product. And so, that's what drives me and then when women are like, oh my goodness, I went from struggling financially to now filling my grocery cart and I don't even look at the price tags, or women who are like, man, I'm helping, just subsidize our family to be able to do things we've never been able to do before. And the more we keep doing that and spreading the message and fighting for freedom, in this country, we will be a force to be reckoned with. And that's really the goal, is how can we become a dominating force on the earth here?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like anything else. It starts small. It starts with a seed, right? But in that seed is the fullness of what it will become. And so you nurture and you water and you grow and you tend and you care for and you prune and you do all these things that need to happen over a course of time so that this seed can become all that it was meant to be. And so when you have had this vision that is so big for what this is to become, sometimes it feels like, why am I not there already? But big visions take time to get there too, but it's happening, and we're still at the beginning of all of it too. But I think the more that you as the founder and the CEO are keeping the big vision in mind and you're keeping it front and center, then everything is moving towards it. And it's awesome to partner together and to be a part of that, to know that, when I am buying 100% natural, pure, better than organic products for myself, not only I view it as an act of self-care. Not only am I doing incredible self-care for myself by removing toxins and removing, just the cheap stuff that has harmful chemicals in it for me. So I'm supporting my health, but I'm supporting an organization that is giving back and that has this desire. You've mentioned before, your desire is that through financial contribution and in impact in other ways, to be able to eradicate sex trafficking from our generation, right? And so it's like, these are big, meaty, weighty goals that will happen the more that we continue to grow this movement and we grow people's passion and understanding that when I support this business, this totally, from the farmland, right? From seed to soul is what you say.
Yes.
Business, that I am supporting so many other things other than just the financial welfare of this business. I am supporting, these women that are getting prenatal care. I am supporting the reduction of sex trafficking and rescuing children from around the world, which is an astronomical problem that we're facing, right now. So
yes.
It's an incredible thing to be a part of. And I love your heart. I appreciate it so much. I think that's why so many people are drawn to MIG. They're drawn to what you're doing. And this leads a little bit into the Her Effect. So I'd love for you to speak about this other, I don't know how long the Her Effect passion has been in you, but I know that that's something else that is so powerful. And it shows, again, just your heart for helping women create change in their life and empower them to do so, as we all have the capability of doing. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about the Her Effect.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think every, everything that we do, I think that takes sacrifice is usually birthed from a place of pain. People are trying to get out of pain, and that's really the beauty of just being able to sit with, okay, what's happening in my life right now? And God, where do I go from here? And it was back in 2015. And it's like a whole different parallel to my naturopathic life, but we were worship pastors. And I remember we were just in a community of people where there was no freedom, where there was just the silencing of the feminine voice. Nathan was as miserable as I was. But we both felt like God was preparing us for something, and he had us there to serve for a season. But my heart was being crushed daily. And, it was kind of a spiritually abusive place. And I remember one day just in my quiet place, my quiet time, being like, Lord, you show me your design. You show me the most powerful women in scripture, because I need to understand what your plan is, because I feel so broken. And there were seasons of just feeling this sense of hopelessness in the visions that God had given me, because the men were kind of like snuffing it out, and he took me on a journey of just discovering all these amazing women in scripture who there was limitless possibility. I mean, you've got Deborah. We always talk about Deborah, she was this prophetess and this judge and incredible woman. And Esther, and usually what was happening in these scriptures is he was with everything with the Lord. Like, he takes the foolish things to confound the wise, these kind of nobodies type of people. And then he raises them up to save nations. And I was so inspired by what I found. And I just felt so like, okay, Lord, I'm just looking at the Proverbs 31 woman. And I was taught in church that she was just this woman who had babies and made dinner and was really successful in her home. But I look at the Proverbs 31 woman and I'm like, man, she was turning a profit and buying and selling fields and calling ships in from afar and international trade. And while she was doing that, she was providing for her household, and her children rose up and called her blessed, and the heart of her husband trusted in her. So she had all this, she was up early and laughed at the days to come. And those are things that I eagerly craved. And I will say that everything in life responds to our hunger. And I think too often we've gotten so comfortable in this country and we've stopped being hungry, but we have to stir up hunger and just the things that your soul, like let your inner man crave the things that the Lord has put in you. Don't silence them. We are meant to be activated and to rise up, and without a vision, the people perish. And we have so many women perishing today with depression and they've lost their way and they've lost their spark. But it's a time to become awakened and to let the Lord show you and remind you the dreams he's given you. And that's really what the Her Effect is. I don't want to just awaken women. I was also used to like going and getting excited at a conference and then being like, okay, now what? And I'm like, I wanted to take a woman from the beginning of her journey of awakening and take her through an awakening and then a discipleship and an activation process where she is bearing much fruit. The Bible says that when you behold him and when you abide in him, you will bear much fruit. And I see the body of Christ today, a very dead and fruitless place, a barren place. And I look at, you can look at scripture and see all of the ways that the Lord blesses. You know, we often say things like, oh, God is using me. I'm like, he's not using you. He's entrusting you with more. It says, if you're faithful with little, he will entrust you with much, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So when we seek him, and then when we're faithful with what he tells us to do, you know, Mary said to the disciples, whatever he tells you to do it. When he turned the water to wine, right? That's our only job. He made it very simple, but the things of God are always simple. They're just not always easy. So we have to be willing to step out into boldness and into obedience and faithfulness to what he's called us to. So my challenge to every woman is to stop thinking that because you have little children that you're not capable, or if you have a full-time job that you're not capable, or you don't have money in your bank account that you're not capable, or that whatever it is, like there's all the excuses, right? But one thing that the Lord did was he proved through me. I mean, I was a pregnant, nursing, busy, poor mom. Nathan was working all the time, teaching. We still weren't, you know, we have a whole story where we adopted our nephew and there was just all these financial things and we were struggling, but I continued to press into the Lord, into the vision he gave me, and was continuously obedient, and he blessed the work of my hands. So I can't even take credit for where we're at right now, except that he gave me the ability to abide and to obey and to, you know, he gave me the ideas. Everything that MIG is now is birthed from his ideas, and I was just faithful with it, right? So stop thinking that you didn't have good enough grades, or that you are not the right kind of girl. I was a D- student in high school. I was homeschooled most of my life, and then went to public school the last part of my high school career, and was never the girl you would pick to be doing what I'm doing now. But we have to choose to become her. None of us are those people yet. I'm not the girl. I'm not the billionaire yet. I'm not the girl that's going to be who I am 10 years from now. But every day I have to wake up and choose vision, and choose purpose, and choose obedience, and then just don't quit. That's really what it is. It's so simple. And I want to see women rising and doing that thing without asking permission, without being like, well, you know, I've had so many seasons of my career as an entrepreneur where I'm like, well, I don't have capital investment, or maybe I need these professionals to tell me how to do this. And every time I tried to do it the world's way, it was like, okay, Jamie, he says he's given us all things that pertain to life and godliness. The thing that he's created you for, he's already put it all inside of you. But now we have to, you know, endure hardship as discipline. We have to be refined. We have to be developed and trained up in these things. And we have to learn and grow and do the work, right? And it's just as hard to stay mediocre as it is to go after the thing that you're called to go after. So you might as well pick the bigger thing.
Exactly. A mantra that's really been helping me a lot lately is choose your hard, right? So which hard is it going to be? You're going to choose the hard of staying where you are, where you're unhappy and feeling stuck, or you're going to choose the hard of doing the work to create the thing or create the transformation in your health, or whatever that it happens to be that you're pursuing, that you're saying is also hard. Well, choose your hard. So which one do you want?
Right. There's no excuse. When you're at the end of your life, you alone, I mean, our life is self-determining. We know that. So there is no, but I just did a post the other day. It was a post that like I had 300 shares and hundreds of comments, and people like, yes. And then I was kind of shocked at the small percentage of people that were like, oh, that will never work. And I'm thinking like, we have to get out of our own way. We have to start asking the question, how do I make this work? How do I, God shows me an idea for a soap, a skincare company. I don't know anything about chemistry. I could have been like, but I don't know how to do this, Lord. Okay, I'm just going to pray that God gives me divine wisdom. No, that's part of the mistake that I think too many believers make is, I'm going to pray to make this thing happen. Well, sorry, you don't see Olympic athletes praying for muscle strength. They go out and they train every morning, 8 hours a day. You didn't know what you know without going to medical school, right? Like, we have to do the thing. I had to learn the thing. I had to figure stuff out while I was nursing babies, while I had babies with fevers. I had to just do the thing because I was hungry for change, and I was hungry for the thing that God showed me that was possible and what I was capable of. I wanted that so badly. And there's nothing wrong with, don't squash your desires. Women are really good at that, like just putting themselves aside. But not only do you deserve, it's time to stop asking for permission. This is your mandate now at this point. Like, there's a mandate. You have no, it's no longer time to make the excuses. You've got to get up and get out there and do the thing.
And what's really awesome about it too, is when you realize that if you are pursuing the thing that God has put in you, the vision, the passion, whatever it is, if you are pursuing that thing, He will lead you in how to continue to pursue it, to make it come to be. But you have to take the action, right? That's where the obedience comes in. And I always love to say, obedience is God's love language. So if you want to say, yes, God, I trust you, I believe you, I know that you're with me, I know that you're leading me and guiding me, and I know that you've given me this thing, well, then my obedience to that thing shows my love back to Him, right? And so obedience being God's love language, it's like, and then what's awesome is He will begin to do things with what you are creating that you could never do on your own. You could never have done. You cannot create the supernatural success, the supernatural impact that things are having when you are obedient to the thing that God has asked you to do. So there is a supernatural side that then comes with your obedience. You won't be able to take the full credit for everything that begins to happen, because you're just being obedient to what He's done. And so now He is putting His stamp on what is happening. And this is what has happened with everything that I've done in Fit+Faith, which was also birthed in 2015. And then with the podcast coming out in 2018, and people will say, it's done phenomenally well, and it's impacted people in ways that blow my mind. And I was like, well, I didn't do that. I cannot take credit for that. God is doing it through what I've been obedient to do with what He put on my heart to do. And then the rest is up to Him. So you don't have to have the weight of everything on your shoulders either. You just have to say, okay, God, I'm moving forward in trust. I'm moving forward in faith. I'm doing the best that I can. And then you get the results. You get the glory. You get to do the amazing thing that I get to be a witness of. Things have happened and what God has done. And I just sit back sometimes and I'm like, God, I can't believe you're letting me see what you're doing and you're letting me play a small part in it. But I am not going to take the credit for it, because all it's done is that I've been obedient to what you had me to do. And this is the fruit, and it's amazing, right? So man, it's powerful. And I saw that post and I know exactly what you're talking about. And it does break your heart, right? When you see the limitations start to come out, that isn't possible. I cannot see a way, or I've tried before and failed. So now I have this block there, and so
exactly.
It's painful.
Exactly.
It's painful to see that as well. It's scary and sometimes painful to move forward out of that, because there's a big trust factor. There's a big faith factor that you have to put your faith in action, put your trust in action. Okay. And that's a hard thing to do, but it's the only way that you're going to then experience the passion and the joy and the fruitfulness that you would not have been able to experience had you not crossed that barrier and move forward in faith and move forward with trust and with the obedience, no matter what it looks like, even if it seems crazy or funny. And so It's incredible, but I know exactly what you're speaking to. And so the Her Effect, you have your own podcast for the Her Effect podcast as well.
Yes. Yep. That's it. The Her Effect podcast.
So all of our podcast listeners here, clearly you love podcasts or you wouldn't be listening to this one. So make sure that you head over to iTunes or whatever podcast platform that you're on and search the Her Effect podcast and hear more of Jaime's passion and of what God has put inside of her, birthed through her own experience. That has to happen, right? We have to, our life is a culmination of our experiences, but it is in the hard times and it is through the transformation that we experience that begins to minister to someone else. Your story and your testimony of what you've been through and what you've overcome is specifically for someone else. It's never just for you. It's for someone else that needed to see what you have done and needed to hear what you've been through, to give them the strength and to give them the confidence and the boost that they need to move forward for themselves too. So we cannot keep these things inside, because that means you're stopping someone else from reaching their transformation.
Yes. Yes. Amen.
It's so
That's
powerful.
right.
It's so powerful. So we've talked about the big visions that you see, the worldwide impact that continues, that you want to see happen through MIG and that you know God will do and will lead us in that direction. And it's so exciting to be a part of that journey. And then I'd love for you to touch on a little bit of the beauty rebellion idea here, because that's so powerful.
Yeah.
That is still in the developing stages too, but you will hear more about it. And so I would love for you to share a little bit about beauty rebellion and then we'll wrap it up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So everything we're talking about, you know, the greenwashing and the mainstream old ways, well, you know, they're really not the old ways. They're the man-made ways of there's two things. One is women are facing so much, you know, it's like fix your hair, you know, dye your hair, inject your face, fix your stretch marks, you know, get rid of the cellulite. And I'm all for like beauty and your best self, but not at the cost and not at the expense of, you know, creating death in your body. I'm like, what if we all as a society of women started to cheer each other on with gray hair and embrace the wrinkles and, you know, age gracefully and embrace I've had 5 babies. I mean, my body parts are not where they used to be, but I've started to just love myself for what it is now and for what it's created and coming and just loving your body, loving what she's capable of and embracing her and creating a standard of love and acceptance on that side. And then at the same time, like this beauty rebellion is about, let's stop the greenwashing. Let's keep government out of small business. When I hear about companies that are like trying to induct legislation on small skincare companies because there's a lot of freedom, and I'm like, that's the way it should be. I mean, we've got to, because what you have right now is you've got big billion-dollar companies who are saying one thing like pure, natural, safe, clean, effective. And then when you look at the ingredients, it's the farthest thing from the truth. But I tell you what, they know how to market to the population. And I want to restore truth in beauty. And so when you look at our ingredients, it's like, man, I could eat all of these ingredients. You know, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Wouldn't taste very good, but just restoring truth in beauty. And rising up and understanding that we as beauty rebels aren't going to stand for the greenwashing and for the fake marketing and the fake message. And we're gonna go after truth, and we're gonna speak the truth, and we're gonna love each other well, and be empowered to take our power back in our health, beauty, and in our wealth.
Yep, absolutely. And I feel like the beauty rebellion itself, when you think about not only the tangible, practical side of that, of being a beauty rebel, of saying no to toxic chemicals, no to things that may look pretty or say that they're good and natural, but when you look on the back, it's like, I can't even pronounce all these things like clearly this is made in a lab type of situation. When you become to be
Right.
practical beauty rebellion from that standpoint, then no, I'm standing on nature, I'm standing on the healing benefits of what are in incredible botanicals and herbs and all the other things, the essential oils and everything that are in these products. And then beauty from the inside out, being a beauty rebel as well is the way you care for your body. It is, I'm going to fuel my body well because my internal health affects my external, the way things look,
Yes.
as well too. I mean, it affects the way I feel and it affects from my skin. And so being a beauty rebel is so many multifaceted, loving and accepting myself as well, not feeling bad about myself because of the natural course of aging, not being so dissatisfied with what I see in the mirror that I'm so negative towards myself in my mind. And all I want to do is change. And then I am not realizing how beautiful I really am, that I am beautiful because I am a creation of God. I am beautiful inherently. And, the outer, it can be great, but I'm beautiful because he says I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful because I've been created by the Almighty. And that in and of itself, why would I be downgrading that? Why would I be, downplaying that? Like stepping back into, who we've been created to be, and the innate power and the innate beauty that we have because of who our creator is. It's multifaceted in my opinion. And I think it's so powerful and so beautiful. So how would you like people to be connecting with you? And then I will share with them how they can also partner with the two of us in this passion project of the Beauty Rebellion and joining forces with MIG.
Absolutely. The best way really is thehereffect.com. You'll find MIG there. You'll find a podcast. You'll find we have a free course called Becoming Her Mastery, and the discipleship, movement has begun. So thehereffect.com.
I love it. Thehereffect.com. And for you that are interested in, I want to be a partner in this too, from the business side of it as well, that those who want to join Jamie and myself and move forward, sharing these incredible products and being a part of this amazing company and all the incredible growth that is to come. It is a very exciting thing to be a part of. And you can find more, and you can find the application to work with me specifically as well and join my team at wildcraftedluxury.com. So head on over as well to wildcraftedluxury.com and you'll find that link there too. So we are excited to have you guys join us. And we just really hope that you have enjoyed this episode, learning more about just everything that God is doing, all that these natural products that I've been sharing about, the heart and soul behind them in Jamie herself. And so thank you for just being here with us, Jamie, for sharing your heart, for sharing, all the things that God has done through the difficulties and through the trials, and being birthed out of a need in many ways has come beauty in MIG and beauty in the Her Effect of empowering women, empowering families to move forward and pursue their dreams. And so thank you so much for your saying yes and your obedience to everything that God has put before you as well. It's incredible.
Thank you for so much for having me, Melody. It's so great.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for being here with us at the Healthy Christian Women Podcast. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe and join me next week for the next episode of the Healthy Christian Women Podcast. Inspiring Christian women to live healthier in their mind, body, and spirit, one day at a time. Grab your complimentary mind, body, and spirit detox checklist at healthychristianwomen.com/detox. That's healthychristianwomen.com/detox.